store with 3 pieces of black licorice in his hand, y'all. Mr. Policeman thought it was a gun, thought he was the one, shot him down, y'all. That ain't right. Then his mama screamed, ain't no need for sunlight, ain't no need for moonlight, ain't no need for street lights, 'cause it's burning real bright. Some folks say we gon' fight, 'cause this here thing just ain't right. 1960 what? 1960 who? 1960 what? 1960 who? 19. Hey, the Motor City's burning. Great God Almighty is burning. You can't put out the fire 'cause it's burning.
It is Gregory Porter coming through, multi-award-winning artist. And of course, platinum selling was the debut album Liquid Blue. It sold in excess of 1 million album units at the time when it released. But if you follow Gregory's career, you know that he had long been making a name for himself in the sort of underground jazz scenes and performing at basement jazz hubs and clubs whilst recording his debut album Liquid Spirit, which came out at the age of 38. And 1960 Watt was one of the breakout and standout tracks from that particular album. He's also quite committed to, using music as a vehicle to address some issues that need to be spoken about. He still very much feels the need for artists to use their artistry as a tool for conversation and as a tool for sparking some kind of social engagement and ultimately, a mirror to the ills that we face as society. This particular song holds an even more personal meaning for him, though, because the story goes that, it was recorded at a time when he was grappling with the emotions after his mother's passing, and he was trying to reconnect back with her story, having grown up in the South of America. And at the time, he was listening to a lot of Nina Simone and the likes, delving deeper into soul music, deep blues, jazz, and just reflecting as well around the LA riots, which had happened a few years before his mother's passing. And so this song came about as a reflection of all of that. I hope you had a great weekend. I know a lot of you had an extended weekend. It was Heritage Day yesterday, and so we enjoyed a public weekend, a public day off, public holiday. The rest of us were holding fort here doing country duty, but a lot of you had taken Monday off and took yesterday off, and so you had a long weekend. If you're wondering why am I asking and saying that I hope you had a great long weekend, it's because I know a lot of people took advantage and took the Monday off and got to go off and do amazing things. But we're back in the saddle now, and we're wrapping up this week our final installment of our focus on Know Your Royals for this Heritage Month. And we're going to be touching base with the Chevatse dynasty, finding out more about them, their family, their heritage, their roots and their story. And then on the other side of 2 o'clock, we're looking at the cultural and spiritual significance of birth orders in the family unit. So I wonder, where are you born? Are you the firstborn? Are you the middle child? Are you the last born? And is there some kind of significance that holds for you in as far as your role and your responsibility in your family? You know, as a firstborn, are there certain expectations of the role that you occupy and the kind of maybe respect that comes with it, and the responsibilities that are then placed on you as the firstborn, as the lastborn? You know, do you hold none of those responsibilities within the structure of your family in the context of culture? So you can just willy-nilly go about your life with very little responsibility to anyone or anything, and as far as the family order goes? We'd love to hear from you. 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line, and 086 000 2032 is the number that you can call us on.
This Heritage Month, SAFM invites you to celebrate the rich tapestry of our nation's diverse cultures. From the vibrant beats of our traditional music to the flavors of our unique cuisines, every culture tells a story of strength, unity, and identity. We honor the heroes and heroines who laid down their lives for our freedom, reminding us that our shared heritage is what makes us strong. Together as one, we celebrate who we are because our culture is our identity. This Heritage Month, let's celebrate every culture, every story, and every voice.
Okay. They actually did it. I mean, I've seen it done in other countries, but now they have a whole new local season of the show. Oh, Mzansi, you beautiful, amazing land with diverse families and cultures. Wife Swap South Africa is finally here. Tune in from Monday the 9th of September and see how families from across South Africa swap wives and learn a thing or two or three on how other families operate. There will be disruptions, lessons learned, tears, and smiles in this unique and insightful social experiment. Channel your best entertainment with Wife Swap, Mondays at 6 p.m. only on S3. Open up.
S3. Ask me how I know that 50% of car claims are pre-approved instantly. That's because I was one of them.
Yeah, they got my car back on the road with the first repair.
I submitted my claim on the ANG app. I didn't even have to call.
Auto & General is proud to be recognised as South Africa's best car insurer by Forbes and The Star for short-term insurance. Isn't it time you switch to award-winning cover? Visit autogen.co.za. Auto & General, never not there. ANG is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
Weeknights on S3 are anything but ordinary. BBC Primetime brings you the best of British television from 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Open your mind to Life on Death Row, Thursdays at 9 p.m. and Resistance in a Hostile Environment, a 3-part documentary showcasing turning points which would go on to define race relations in the UK for a generation. Thursdays at 10 p.m. Wind down your weeknights with The Outlaws, Fridays at 9 p.m. and explore the world's most dangerous roads at 10 p.m. Channel your best entertainment with BBC Primetime, only on S3. Open up.
S3.
Arts, culture, and robust conversations with Bridget Masinga.
We are getting set. We're dealing with some gremlins in the background. If you are watching us live stream, you can see that there's some issues happening in the background. But we are going to get into a conversation now with Kosi Mwelekanye Chibase, who is the spokesperson for the Chibase dynasty, which is regarded as one of the most prominent royal families within the Vavenda people of South Africa. And its origins can be traced back to the legendary King Dimbanyeka, who is believed to have established the Bavenda kingdom in the 17th century. It's been a fascinating series thus far as we get to know some of our royals for Heritage Month. And today is no different, I'm sure. Good afternoon to you, Kosi. How are you doing today?
I am very well, thanks. And how about you?
We are fantastic. We are great. Thank you so much. You know, we wanted to open up with a traditional, as we've been for the last couple of weeks, a traditional Mavenda song, but unfortunately our systems are letting us down. So maybe if you'd indulge me, please, Kosi, and I don't know if this is proper protocol or not, because I've never been a royal and I'm not royal adjacent, but perhaps if you could give us itakazelo of the royal household as a way of educating us first and foremost of your lineage.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate. Maybe what we need to do is to, in future, we need to invite you to our palace there with at Waname, and you stay there a day or two to really understand and see how we do things.
Absolutely.
That will be great.
Absolutely.
Now, maybe I can share with you the lineage of Chivase dynasty.
Yes.
Way back, Chivase started Tovera Rarushiero Vere. He started to rule in 1780 until 1834. This man is the man who actually created the Chivase dynasty. He is Chivase number 1. After him, he was followed by King Mukesi Rubengo Ramarumo, who took over from 1834 until 1867.
Sure.
And the third one was Tovera Murwale Ligigise Mankili Chivase, who took over from 1867 until 1902.
Oh, wow.
The fourth one was His Majesty Vere Ramaremisa Chivase, who took over from 1902 until 1930. So the fifth one was His Majesty Rasimpi Piripiri British Empire France Empire Chivase, who took over in 1930 until 1952. Now, I will also, maybe while I'm here, I can just share a little bit about this man. This man, when he took over in 1930, it was after 1927, when the Act of Bantustan was created. So he then had lots of fights with the oppressors. And by that time, they wanted to take the land and give it to their fellow oppressors to farm in the areas and so on. He fought with them for that, and he resisted that no one would ever take the land from his people. Then, of course, in 1948, they arrested him, they banned him from his kingdom, and he died in exile in 1952.
Wow.
Then the number 6 was His Majesty Tikatali Prince Toyando Chivase, who took over from 1963 until 1966. And the 7th one is our current His Majesty Midiabatu Prince Kennedy Chivase, who took over the office since 1970 and to date. He is still our current leader within the Chivase dynasty.
And if I can ask, Kosi, the lineage that you've just broken down for us, and we appreciate also just that heritage and that history that came with it, that lineage of the past 6 kings, including the current, is it all from the same sort of patriarchal lineage of grandfather to son to son to son to son, or is the lineage at some point, passed on a sort of a different bloodline?
No. It has been from the grandfather to son and so on and so on. It was not different bloodline. Mm-hmm. It has been the same bloodline all the way.
Very interesting. And then can I throw a spanner in the works before we get into the headline news? I asked one of the Hoshis that was here last week with the Batlaka clan, and I said, what happens in the instance where within the royal bloodline, in 2024, if only females are born to the royal households? Is there room for that conversation?
But maybe let me share with you the following. His Majesty Rarusiero Vele Chivase, where I shared with you that he took over the office from 1780 until 1824. During that period, he actually took one of his sisters and inaugurated her at a place called Buraudzi as the chief. Mm-hmm. This was a female. Then the second one was at the second female was Nyamananga, Udeli, where at least he installed her there. So within the dynasty of Chivase, we have been recognizing women as equals.
Wonderful.
We have been putting them in a very serious position, critical positions, which are equal to men.
Wonderful. Let's hold it there for a second, Kosi. We'll come back on the other side of this. By the way, if you yourself, come from the Venda tribes and clans, please do give us a shout on 061-410-4107. But for now, though, it's 1:30. Madupi is standing by with the headline news.
Thank you very much, Sister Bridge, and a very good afternoon. In your headlines this hour, ANC Deputy President Paul Mashatile has told delegates at the Teachers Union SATU Congress that the government of national unity was not the ideal choice. Basic Education Minister Sivuya Gwahube says she has requested an urgent meeting with the Finance Minister over budget pressures faced by provincial departments. And musician Silo Chikotwala's son Longwe has been released on warning by the Randburg Magistrates Court in Joburg. Details of these and other stories in your news at 2.
Arts, culture, and robust conversations with Bridget Masinga.
I mean, it's a pity that I probably protocol means that I can't ask Kosi Chivaze about this particular song in the context of it. We're trying to guess here behind the scenes, on what occasion does this type of song occur in, or when is it performed, on the occasion of a wedding, and the occasion of a royal inauguration, or of a cultural event of significance. In fact, if you are listening to the show and you are of Bavenda descent and culture, please do share with us if you recognize the lyrics and you recognize the song. This is why we're having this conversation, this series over this month, so that we can educate ourselves about the various beautiful cultures and royals that they are in the country. So 06141041007 is our WhatsApp line. And as per usual, when we've been having this conversation, we invite you to come through and share your easy takazelo. I've just learned that in Venda it is chirenzo. So if you can share your chirenzos with us, we'd love to hear all your beautiful chirenzos. You can send us a WhatsApp voice note on 06141041007. But you can also share your izidugu and your stagazelos, and I don't know what you call it in Afrikaans if they exist, but if they do, feel free to do so. We are in conversation with Kosi Mwelekanye Shibase, who is, of course, the spokesperson of the Shibase dynasty, and we're getting to know more about the history of this beautiful dynasty. Kosi, can we talk a little bit also about the cultural and spiritual side of Bavenda? I think, some of us obviously just experience your people and your wonderful culture cosmetically. So from what we see by way of the shows we watch, or some fabulous, personalities who are proudly Venda. I'm thinking the likes of us, Florence Masebe, for instance, who is proud of her culture and just adorns and displays it so beautifully. But we don't know much by way of maybe some of the cultural and spiritual practices that your people undertake.
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed. As vendors, we do have our own culture, and we, as leaders, our task within the Chivase dynasty, we are there to preserve and protect our culture.
Mm.
Our culture, of course, has got, we have different types of activities, like, there will be marende. Marende is when at least you see women and also men dancing for marende and singing different songs, and when you follow those songs, they all have meanings.
Mm.
They don't just sing a song. It will have a meaning, and it will also be educational, and so on and so on. Then we have also Chikona.
Mm-hmm.
Chikona dance is when, if at least we are going to inaugurate a chief, the dance which will be mainly leading there will be Chikona.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where also you will then see our leader, His Majesty MPK Chivase, taking a lead. And we will be following him and dancing this Chikona.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very beautiful dance, where last year when we invited our deputy president,
Mm-hmm.
He also ended up dancing for that one.
If I may ask, Kosi, if I may interject there for a second, is the Chikona dance a preserve only of men at this particular ceremony? So when a chief has been inaugurated, is it a dance ritual that's only performed by gentlemen, or there's a different version also that also includes women and the younger community?
Well, the Chikona dance, those olden years, those olden times, it used to be only men. But for now, we also allow women also to dance for Chikona. They become part of the Chikona dance.
I see.
So you see, in Venda, we are not discriminatory. We allow this mix, as I shared with you about even the leadership, where many years ago we've been allowing and accepting women also to be in those powerful positions. And again, just to share with you, is to say that when we go through the process of identifying the chief, the lady, we have a woman called Makazi. Makazi plays a very important role.
Not Makazi Losmazi, Angit.
No. Not loyal. Not that one. Not loyal.
No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, this Makazi, the female, she plays a very important role. So today, when at least after democracy, we're talking about, yes, it must be 50-50 with women and so on. We sit back, we say, these people, they're supposed to have come to the Chivase dynasty to learn about these things. How is done.
Right?
Okay? Thank you. Yeah.
I just want us to pause there for a second. And by the way, Kosi, I was just asking about the Chikana dance, because I think it's beautiful when there are rituals that are only for the preserve of, specific genders as well within our cultures. Because in my mind, I was just trying to imagine, because as you were saying it, I was like, oh, this looks like it could be something just for the males. And so I'd love to actually see it and see, Guti, how is it then, executed by the males, and if there's specific costumes that are adorned, or specific males that are invited to come and be a part of it. So don't worry, I wasn't even trying to figure out whether or not there's inclusion of women. But let's take a quick break here, and then we'll come back on the other side of this and continue our conversation.
There will be humongous fighting spirit accompanied by high emotions, tension, and drama. Because this is a meeting of giants. Golden Black targets maximum points as part of the Heritage Month celebrations. But Cabo Yellow says the Yellow Nation only gets impressed by victory. This is the Betway Premiership. Witness the massive clash between Kaizer Chiefs and Mamelodi Sundowns on Saturday, 28 September at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC1 and SABC radio stations. Also available at your fingertips on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Channel Heritage Day your way on Afternoon Express on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. only on S3. As Chef Ruben Riffel braais lekker curried lamb skewers, we rock our traditional regalia, and Jules Harding of Good Luck celebrates her daughter Skylar's first Heritage Day, and it's orange malva pudding for dessert. That's Afternoon Express this Tuesday at 6 p.m. only on S3.
How can we make healthcare work for everyone? Join the discussion at the 2024 GEM Symposium on the 26th and 27th of September 2024 under the theme Innovate, Interrogate, Accelerate, a Universal Health Coverage Commitment. This event will bring together experts to shape the future of healthcare and tackle critical challenges such as healthcare access and prevention. Be a part of this important dialogue by visiting www.gems.gov.za to register and, of course, for more information.
Arts, culture, and robust conversations with Bridget Masinga.
We're wrapping up what has been a really informative series, at least for me, and I hope it's been so for you as well. The entire month of September, we decided to focus on some of our incredible royal families from our respective cultures in a series that we've called Know Your Royals. And today we are wrapping it up by catching up with spokesperson of the Chivatse dynasty, Kosi Mwalekanye Chivatse, who is telling us a bit more about this rich, colorful culture of Bavenda that I think a lot of us probably are clueless around and just trying to extract as much information as we possibly can. I read somewhere, Kosi, that water plays a very significant role spiritually in the people of Bavenda. Can you tell me more?
Well, of course, water is life. And that is how within the Bavenda, how we respect water. We have also a lake called Funduzi, and that particular lake is preserved, and because the way we understand water as life, we know very well that without water, there will be no life. And this preservation of water goes a long way, and we continuously, even today as we speak, we try to educate our people by making sure that they shouldn't actually deforest our beautiful areas, because as soon as we do that, of course, we won't have water, and we won't have rain. So we respect all those areas, and then we continuously make sure that we guard them jealously, and make sure that the environment is not tampered with harshly. So that is the focus regarding the water. And if you come to Venda, you will find that, yes, we do have a very fertile soil in Venda. And that fertile soil, it means that we as the people, we must work on it and produce food for ourselves and for the rest of the people.
But by way of the cultural practices and some of the traditions that the Bavenda people observe, how are you managing to keep, because so there's this conversation around cultures evolving as societies evolve, but how do you manage to keep the culture of the Bavenda as pure as possible and as authentic as possible, to its roots, to where it stems from? Because it almost seems to me every time, and like I say, my glimpse into the Bavenda is very tiny. It's through a very tiny lens. But the people that often share, like our Florence, for instance, and I always go, oh, there's a jealousy in how she safeguards the purity of being Venda and the practices of being Venda. And I wonder how have you managed to do that as the Chivatse dynasty?
It is not an easy task because, as you have mentioned, time evolves. And as we're moving forward, we are then having more of the Western culture coming very strongly. And of course, it becomes a very a heavy task on us to ensure that people must understand that we shouldn't actually drop our culture and tradition. And we continuously share with them about that. And we then say, any nation which moves away from its tradition and culture is a lost nation. You may go to other, I have traveled extensively. I've been to most of the continents on the world, in this world. And I have seen different cultures, be it in China, be it in Japan, be it in Russia. I go there, I see this, and I see them highly successful. You see, if you look at the nation which keeps or which preserves its culture, that particular nation becomes successful or very successful. But when you move away, you get lost in the process. You get lost in the process because you don't know now where you're going, because you will try to follow the Western culture. Western culture, we don't know. And it is something which we hear and which we're just trying to jump on, and definitely it's not going to take us forward. Not at all. So, by the way, I must just share with you a little bit here to say that our culture was destroyed by the oppressors, whereby when they came, we gave them land, and then they established themselves as missionaries and so on and so on. So out of that, they would then be telling people to say that, if you continue this route of yours of wearing mimwenda, meaning these wonderful, colorful dresses which you just mentioned on, they say that, no, you are heathen.
Oh, wow.
You do not understand. No. You are backwards. So people based on that, many of our people based on that, they actually dropped our tradition and culture. But they do not know today the so-called Western civilization in a very wrong way. And whereby we are saying that, yes, education is paramount for us, but you shouldn't actually be teaching or forcing us to drop our culture and tradition. But I guess by that particular time, it was a matter of trying to defeat us, because when the person understands his culture and tradition, it becomes difficult to defeat.
Absolutely. And I want to come back, and we've got just a few more moments together. And I want to come back and also talk around how perhaps do our cultures look now in the future of young people, right? And what are they saying about what they carry forward by way of culture and traditions and what they leave behind? And because I think these conversations are necessary if we talk around the evolutions of culture as societies evolve. Some things go with us and some things stay behind. And perhaps maybe in this break moment, you can just reflect on maybe there was something that your great grandpa used to do. It was common cultural practice at the time. But with time, it's evolved, or maybe it got left behind with that generation. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back on the other side of this.
Dawn breaks across the lush Serengeti plain, but paradise is fleeting as the animals face fresh challenges. Kali, the lioness, and Bakari, the baboon, may seem safe in their rock fortresses, but with rivals encroaching on all sides, their future hangs in the balance. Out on the plains, Duma the cheetah faces his destiny. And down by the river, baby hippo Mafuta strikes up an unlikely friendship with the crocodile Magamba. Channel your inner explorer with Serengeti, Season 3, Sundays at 6 p.m. only on S3. Open up. S3. Weeknights on S3 are anything but ordinary. BBC Primetime brings you the best of British television from 9 p.m. till 11 p.m. Open your mind to Life on Death Row, Thursdays at 9 p.m. and Resistance in a Hostile Environment, a 3-part documentary showcasing turning points which would go on to define race relations in the UK for a generation. Thursdays at 10 p.m. Wind down your weeknights with The Outlaws, Fridays at 9 p.m. and explore the world's most dangerous roads at 10 p.m. Channel your best entertainment with BBC Primetime, only on S3. Open up. S3.
Standard Bank, the biggest bank in Africa by assets, in partnership with the SOAS, will host the 4th Annual Climate Summit on the 1st of October. The summit will host insightful discussions with various industry experts in charting Africa's course to net zero. The annual summit is one of Standard Bank's sustainability initiatives that's dedicated to driving growth on the African continent. And you can tune in on our SAFM Facebook page and be part of the conversation in shaping the future of Africa's energy transition. Brought to you by Standard Bank Corporate and Investment Banking.
Arts, culture, and robust conversations with Bridget Masinga.
We are coming back and we are steadily headed towards wrapping out our conversation. But as much as we haven't played your voice notes yet, our lines are still open on 061 410 4107. And we'd love to hear your chirenzods. If you can share with us what your family chirenzo is, that would be amazing. So you can send us that voice note to give us some of your izitagazelos or izidukwas. That's what we do every single Wednesday this entire month when we have these conversations. But as we wrap up, Kosi, let's touch a little bit on, because the nature of culture and traditions changing ultimately means that some things get left behind and some things get taken forward. Have you seen the similar kind of evolution maybe, although in small pockets or maybe not, with Bavenda culture?
I appreciate it. The evolution is real. It is happening. It is not anything which we can be saying or which we can push aside. No, it's here with us. So within the Chivase dynasty, we sat down, His Majesty MPK Chivase requested us to sit down and look into this on a very serious note. What we came up with currently is to say that on our own, we are not going to fully achieve this. What we need to do, we need to identify different stakeholders, right? For them also to come and be part of a bigger dialogue where we are going to be paving the way forward regarding our culture. We have identified like the education department as one of the most important stakeholder. The other one is the churches. We want them also to be part of this dialogue, whereby we must be able to come up and speak in one voice regarding how we as the dynasty, we see the way of preservation of our culture and the traditions as Bavenda. So by doing so, when we bring the Department of Education and the churches and all this, and all these other stakeholders, we believe it will be very, very effective. And it will actually help us to come up with a win-win solution here.
Yes.
Because we have, earlier on, we requested also some researchers. We've got researchers who are working on this also.
Wonderful.
To ensure that at least make the decision is an informed decision.
Kosi Chibase, we have to leave it there for this afternoon, but I appreciate the time and, of course, the patience in explaining so many things to us today. What a wonderful way to wrap up our series. That was Kosi Mwelekanye Chibase, who is the spokesperson of the Chibase dynasty. And as they say with your fabulous people, Ndikolebuwa nakensa. That was Kosi.
Will I invite you?
Thank you.
And visit our dynasty.
Will
meet all these people, and mainly our leader, His Majesty MPK Chibase.
We will be there. Ndikolebu. That was, of course, Kosi Chibase joining us today. It's time for us to get into the news, but by way of a quick reminder, Essential Cover from Outsurance pays out claims in cash, allowing you to choose your own panel beater, and you can simply SMS CAR to 43187.
The top stories at 2 o'clock. A body recovered following the Midrand fire, and Kwahube concerned over budget cuts for education. A very good afternoon. Ke Mudupi Makhalemele with the news. A body has been recovered following the fire that gutted a residential building in Midrand, north of Joburg last night. Many residents at the Broadwalk Urban Village complex were evacuated to safety. However, some lost everything in the fire that destroyed 130 units. Emergency Services spokesperson Xolile Khumalo says they're investigating the cause of the blaze.
EMS search and rescue team has recovered the body of a female submerged under rubble and roof material that collapsed yesterday evening. The body was recovered just before 12 o'clock this afternoon. The body has been identified. Xolile Khumalo, EMS, stay safe.
ANC Deputy President Paul Mashatile has told delegates at the Teachers Union SATU Congress that the Government of National Unity was not the ideal choice. He made the comments during the opening address at the Congress in Boksburg on Gauteng's East Rand. The ANC formed the GNU after the May 29th elections, when the party lost its majority for the first time in 30 years. Mashatile says the GNU was a strategic position that the ANC had to assume.
But our approach as the ANC, together with the Alliance, was to find a way to ensure that we are not derailed from our main goal of transforming our society, including our education sector, for the better. As a result, we have to be strategic and ensure that the setback we suffered should not dislodge us from the levers of state power necessary for driving transformation, including the working conditions and better remuneration for our teachers.
Basic Education Minister Siviwe Gwahube says she has requested an urgent meeting with the Finance Minister over the budget pressures faced by provincial departments. The department has been unable to fill teachers' positions, with the Western Cape already reducing posts. Gwahube says that many provinces are in a similar position as they battle to avoid budget cuts for key services such as textbooks, admin support, and scholar transport programs. Briefing the media in Pretoria, Gwagube says the crisis needs urgent attention as provincial departments will struggle to fund posts in the next 2 to 3 years.
Most provincial departments require between 350 million to 3.8 billion over the medium-term expenditure framework to fully fund their respective posts. So those are large numbers that we are saying as a sector we need this money over the medium-term expenditure framework in order for us to be able to fund educators in the system. If we continue down the path of regressing or underfunding the sector, the projections indicate that most provincial departments will not be able to maintain their respective basket of posts.
Musician Sello Chikotwala's son Longwe has been released on warning by the Randburg Magistrates Court in Joburg. Longwe Twala, whose name has also come up in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial, faces a charge of theft. He allegedly stole his father's studio equipment valued at over 200,000 rand. The warning was granted with certain conditions. Horisanis Tole has more.
Some of Longwe's release conditions include him staying free from drugs and alcohol for the duration of the trial. The court has ordered that he be placed under house arrest from 6 in the evening until 6 in the morning until the trial is concluded, and that he should never visit Chico's Fourways home or his workplace. The matter has been postponed to next month for further investigations.
And a new study suggests that climate change played a significant role in the heavy rains and deadly floods that hit Central Europe earlier this month. The deluge killed at least 24 people and caused billions of dollars of damage. Dr. Frederica Otto from Imperial College London is one of the scientists who took part in the study.
We found that what is now, it's still a relatively rare event, so even in today's climate, expected only about once every 100 years on average. But without human-induced climate change, it would only have been expected on average every 200 years.
The top story at 2 o'clock, a body has been recovered following the fire that gutted a residential building in Midrand, north of Joburg, last night. The Full Circle continues. For SAFM News, Kimudupima Khaleme.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
And that's the news for this hour. Theft, accident, and 1 million rand liability cover, all covered by our Insurance Essential. Get a quote today by simply SMSing car to 43187. Want to know how a 35-year-old man pays only 489 rand a month for his 2005 Ford Ranger 2500 TD Supercab and gets paid cash so he can choose his own panel beater after an accident? We'll switch to Outsurance Essential today and get the cover that you need. Outsurance Essential is a price for vehicles that are unfinanced, older than 5 years, and valued at less than 125,000. It's time to switch and save by simply SMSing car to 43187. That's car to 43187 today. Outsurance is a licensed FSP and T's and C's do apply.
Channel Heritage Day your way on Afternoon Express on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. only on S3. As Chef Ruben Riffel braais lekker curried lamb skewers, we rock our traditional regalia, and Jules Harding of Good Luck celebrates her daughter Skylar's first Heritage Day, and it's orange malva pudding for dessert. That's Afternoon Express this Tuesday at 6 p.m. only on S3.
Need a loan? Pay for what you need when you need it with a personal loan from Nedbank. And if you open a My Goals Plus or My Goals Premium account, you could enjoy 200 Rand cashback every month for the duration of your loan. That's 200 Rand every month to buy extra groceries or save for a rainy day. Visit nedbank.co.za and join the bank that's best for your loans. See money differently. Nedbank. We're a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Okay. They actually did it. I mean, I've seen it done in other countries, but now they have a whole new local season of the show. Oh, Mzansi, you beautiful, amazing land with diverse families and cultures. Wife Swap South Africa is finally here. Tune in from Monday the 9th of September and see how families from across South Africa swap wives and learn a thing or two or three on how other families operate. There will be disruptions, lessons learned, tears, and smiles in this unique and insightful social experiment. Channel your best entertainment with Wife Swap, Mondays at 6 p.m. only on S3. Open up.
S3.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Kabila kendoje musu kendo lebelo ringa kuma tunyalem na kabilo barakata kendekele tumumengi tenyo musu ya bangu mama hanita Iti shwelema mathangesizwe siyasheleza mathangesizwe sithi shwelema mathangesizwe kwashikotha kwaphalala igazi sithi soneni bo kwashikotha kwaphalala igazi sithi soneni bo nine bakhulu sithintene mahlombe nine bakhulu sithintene mahlombe ukhalungithemba.
You're listening to Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
This is Bridget. Good day. This is Bridget. I think you should get Zafenda. There's a guy called Zafenda. I know he's a journalist at SABC also, and he's a musician. So Skiffy once interviewed the guy. There's a nice song he made about Mapungubye. Mapungubye is more like the Venda tribe, something like that. But he says more in that song, like there's more details of Venda culture in that song. Maybe you should check it out and play it. You'll hear more of Venda. You should get him on the show and get something from him. Growing up, on the topic of growing up and taking position, I'm going through that right now, Sis Bridget, and it's telling me it's difficult. It's a long story, and it's family dispute, left, right. Some things they don't make sense. Now because you have grown, they start to make sense, and you try to find out. It's been hectic and horrible. Kwena.
Hi, Gwenna. Thank you so much for the voice notes and the contribution. So they whisper in my ears that, in fact, you're making reference to a colleague of ours who is one of the producers at Current Affairs. So very easy to get them on the show one of the days. We'd love to hear from you. 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line. You can still send through your chirenzos or Tagazelo Zagini. But we're opening the conversation now as well for a sort of another cultural, spiritual focus. And this time we're looking at the spiritual and cultural significance of a birth order in the family unit. So where are you born? Are you in Lalifa? Or are you born last? Are you the middle child? And from your perspective and from what you understand about your family, about your culture, where you are born, the order in which you are born in, has that come with a particular expectation of the role that you occupy within your family, the role and expectations of the role that you shall occupy perhaps in the future in your family? We'd love to hear from you, and also just how ready are you to pick up whatever that cultural responsibility is. 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line. We've got, joining us for this conversation, we've got Tisetso Makubedu, who is also Gogo Kanyagude, a cultural activist and traditional healer. And Tisetso had joined us before for another conversation around the significance of names. And this time we thought we'd invite Gogo Kanyagude back, and we'd have a look at birth orders and the roles that they play in shaping family dynamics, and of course the social and cultural expectations, and perhaps even the spiritual significance of these birth orders. Thokoza Gogo.
Thokoza Gogo, how are you?
I am good. Thank you so much for carving out the time. What says our African spirituality around the significance of our birth orders?
Well, firstly, from an African spiritual perspective, I love how you spoke around culture. We all come from various cultures, and there'd be a cultural understanding. For example, I can be Umguni, where in the Nguni, if firstborn male is Indlalifa, the firstborn girl, Umafungwase, who then on them also is then Umalume, or the uncle that then also will then be the one that negotiates for lobola, and then that firstborn daughter will also then participate in those things of gubiga or the birthing rituals. So that's within Nguni cosmology or Nguni culture. Then you may then go and say visit the Basotho, like Mapulana, your Pedi people, where the last born ki mujalifa, ki yena wa gore ke ba masala nabo, o sala le lelapa, the one that then inherits it. So within all of our culture nations, we have an understanding that the order you're born in also does give you a certain kind of responsibility within the family structure, within the community as well.
It's interesting, Gogo, just the two sort of comparisons you draw now, that with Abanguni, Indlalifa Yetu is technically the firstborn heir, and with Abesuthu, Umjalifa is the lastborn heir. And I wonder, what does history tell us about how those dynamics came to be so varied, if maybe you've come across the text or the knowledge?
I believe for me it has a lot to do with historically where we come from, and also within our culture, with an understanding of Ngunis being travelers, and in the past 200 years they being the main sort of contributors towards Mfekane being a warrior nation. There would be a pride that is there around the firstborn son that goes off to war, comes back with all of these spoils, and then becomes Indlalifa, because that then correlates with that warrior sort of conqueror nation of the Nguni people, where you would find then within a Sotho thing, where a lot of what happened historically is that it was Bomziligas, it was Mozulu that came to the areas Limpopo where the Sothos were and brought Ifaka and came and attacked. That often those who survived then would have been culturally those who were the last born, because the eldest males would have gone to go and fight these wars to defend the land from these Bifaka. And then Bomasala Nabo, Basala Lililapa would be the young ones who would then be able to inherit the stories and take care of the history.
That actually makes a lot of sense. That actually makes a lot of sense. And I think this is why we need to keep having these conversations about where some of our, understandings of culture or even tradition comes from, because then we're able to apply the logic to it and we have a aha moment. Let's take a quick pause here. It's just gone 2:20. We'll come back on the other side and continue the conversation. 061-410-4107 as we delve into the cultural and spiritual significance of birth orders in the family. How do you think birth order has also influenced your relationships with your siblings? We'd love to hear from you. If you can drop us a voice note on 061-410-4107.
And we went on a water safari, and Mom spotted a hippo, and it said,
There is a place where you can see wonder and the wild, with breathtaking scenery and endless landscapes. Enjoy good food and embrace great taste.
And the next day we went to the reed dance. I saw the maidens handing over reeds to the mighty Zulu king, and the Zulu warriors chanting, Baye!
Explore all this and more in the magical Zulu Kingdom.
This message is brought to you by KZN Tourism and Film Authority.
Ask me how I know that 50% of car claims are pre-approved instantly. That's because I was one of them.
Yeah, they got my car back on the road with the first repair.
I submitted my claim on the ANG app. I didn't even have to call.
Auto in General is proud to be recognised as South Africa's best car insurer by Forbes and The Star for short-term insurance. Isn't it time you switched to award-winning cover? Visit autogen.co.za. Auto in General, never not there. ANG is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
Dawn breaks across the lush Serengeti plain. But paradise is fleeting as the animals face fresh challenges. Kali, the lioness, and Bakari, the baboon, may seem safe in their rock fortresses. But with rivals encroaching on all sides, their future hangs in the balance. Out on the plains, Duma the cheetah faces his destiny. And down by the river, baby hippo Mafuta strikes up an unlikely friendship with the crocodile Magamba. Channel your inner explorer with Serengeti, Season 3, Sundays at 6 p.m. only on S3. Open up.
Arts, culture, and robust conversations with Bridget Masinga.
As we round off Heritage Month, we're trying to have, more dynamic conversations around who we are and the construct of us in the context of our cultures, our cultural beliefs, of course, in the context of our lineage and our spiritual beliefs. And today we are having a conversation around the cultural and spiritual significance of birth orders in the family unit. And we've got Gogo Kanyagute joining us, who's a cultural activist and traditional healer who joins us on the line. So we've kind of got an understanding a little bit around the context of the Nguni and Basotho, for instance. And what you say, I think, makes perfect sense, right? In understanding the roles that these respective kids would have played in a yesteryear or bygone time. In defending and preserving the respective dynasties or the respective nations. But I wonder, how have birth orders shifted in modern times, or have the role and responsibilities as bestowed to children shifted in various ways?
So, I think that it's always beautiful when you look at our cultures to understand that culture is not static, it's dynamic. And cultural traditions and norms are meant to respond to the needs of that particular group at the time. So we now look at our modern ways of living. A lot of us lead a more westernized lifestyle, where what our birth orders will often mean is that as the firstborn, you would have been the child that the parents are learning how to parent, because culturally, children are no longer raised by the whole family, but it's now the responsibility of the mother and the father. So that shapes also the role that you have within a family, which it's now in a nucleus family, where before, if you were the firstborn, you weren't just the firstborn to your parents, but you would also perhaps be the firstborn grandchild, and that would have a responsibility within the family. But in us moving away from that superstructure of a joint family, most of us now, our birth orders then relate to how it is that we have our experiences within our nucleus family. That first child carries most responsibility, the middle child will feel ignored, and the last born is the one that often everybody says then receives now the matured parents, and then is seen as though they had things easier than everybody else.
And, we're having a debate here offline with one of my producers. She likes to chime in. And the conversation is around her circumstance, for instance. And she goes, well, what happens in the instances where one is born a firstborn to your father, but you are a secondborn to your mother, or vice versa? Are the expectations and the sort of the cultural inference that comes with that shifts? I would think it shifts accordingly, right? Because then you almost you answer to different dynamics depending on whether you are in your matriarchal home or your patriarchal home.
That is definitely true, because how we are born, we have a role in our families and also in our communities. So if I am a firstborn and I'm a woman on my paternal side, I am Rakadi Omukhulu. I am then Umafungwase, the one that then will do what I pasha in that side for those that need for me to do ritual and to pasha for them. But you may find that on my maternal side, because I am a second-born to my mom, I do not have any spiritual mandate or role birthed on my order of being born.
And those are the terms that I actually wanted, they were escaping me this afternoon. Paternal and maternal. For some reason, they just escaped my mind. And it makes sense for me. And do we think about, as these parents that are straddling modernity and tradition, do we think about the choices that are made within the context of relationship and the birthing of children, and how that connects spiritually, and and the kind of effect that might have when we're having this conversation around spiritual connection, cultural expectation, and placement within one's family?
I definitely believe so. And how I view it and experience it is in how there's such a large awakening around people having to go and initiate or twasa, because often you didn't have the rituals of birth which were done, which were supposed to anchor you in your role and your order of birth in terms of what is it that you're here in the family to do. Because each one of us are born and there's a task we have to ourselves, to our family, and to our community. So often you see this reclamation then coming back as people receiving callings to go and initiate so that they can be able to reclaim that role they were supposed to play within their families.
Let's take a quick pause here. Gogo, we're going to just go into the headline news and then we're going to come back on the other side. We'd love to hear your perspective on this conversation. 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line. You can send through a WhatsApp voice note. We always prefer hearing your thoughts from your own lips so that we understand you better. Or 086 000 2032.
Thanks, Bridget. A very good afternoon. With the news headlines, a body has been recovered following the fire that gutted a residential building in Midrand, north of Joburg, last night. A fuel tanker has overturned on the N2 in Ngoshwa in the Eastern Cape, and China says it has successfully launched an intercontinental ballistic missile into the Pacific Ocean. And those are your headlines. A full news update, 3 o'clock.
Call us on 086 000 2032.
Good afternoon, SAFM radio presenter. My name is Samuel Abram Sepepe. I am born in a family of 7. That's 4 boys and 3 girls. And I happened to be the middle one, which means I am number 4. So there is 3 in front and 3 in the back. And my father originates from Angola, and I'm a South African born, and my father is also a South African, and we live in South Africa. I am in a village called Matile in the former Putazwana, that's northwest now. And the only thing that I can remember that my father made it stand out for me is when he called everyone and said, there is nothing that they will do and continue with it unless they get the authority from me. I have to authorize if it's okay. If I say it's okay, it can be done. If I say no, then it's a no. They are not going to do it. And the reason for that, I don't know. My father has never explained to us, and that's how it is up to now. And my father is late. My mother is also late. And then we remain in the family, and that's how it is. Thank you.
You know, thank you for sharing, and you can feel free to share as well. Would love to know, Guti, where are you in the birth order of things in your family? Are you firstborn, middle child, lastborn, middle from the top, middle from the bottom? Where do you sit in, and what are the roles and responsibilities that come with the positioning that you have by way of your birth order? Let's look at this, Ogoko Kanyagude, birth orders versus gender. Because that is still something that I think we're still trying to grapple with. A lot of people, though we're moving into these times of redefining who we are, but that's still very much a burning question. What happens when ufuna indlalifa, but your X and Y's are producing only females? Or the female becomes the firstborn, and you are insisting on indlalifa yako needs to be of the male gender.
We also need to look at certain things around what has the Western influence or the colonial influence, aka patriarchy, has had on our family structures. I love the previous share around how the middle child is the one that is the center of ritual. Because yes, there is the traditional order that firstborn in Jalifa or in the Sotho lastborn Kimu Jalifa. But in our cultures, we also have spiritual mandate, where we understand that each child can also be born and be given a certain role for the entire bloodline, that this is a spiritual mandate, that regardless of gender, regardless of order, that person carries a certain eldership that needs to be acknowledged, and they are given a role, whether it's from when they are done in Beleko and Egiaziwa Guti, yes, this is our daughter in the physical body. But yena uhamba nekhehla elidala umkhulu esiphahla yena, who was the first ancestor that has started our nation of maybe examples Singamantungwa, for example. So when it comes to gender and it comes to age roles, often how we then look at around what spiritual role do you have, it's through the spiritual lens, because that is mandated by your ancestors and Bandla Badala.
Any sort of understanding around only bonds? Because, you know, we speak in the context of the numbering and the birth order, but we know that there's also a lot of only borns. And are we to assume that everything then is vested in the one singular being?
You know, again, to go into it, I'm an only born from my mom, and I have 3 siblings from my father. And if we look at it from a nucleus family, yes, I am the only child, but my mother has sisters, and within our Swati understanding, all of the siblings or all of the children of my mother's sisters are my brothers. So yes, I am the only child that came through my mother's womb, but I am not the only child amongst all of those sisters. So even then, where the ordering would then be looked, it would be, am I the oldest grandchild out of these sister sibling set, and what does that mean my role is in that? Within my nucleus family, yes, I would carry a lot of what seems like the responsibility, but I have my mother's siblings, Abu Mamnani and Abu Mamkulu, that can then come in and facilitate all of the other roles, because they would be then ordered in that order traditionally if it needed to be something which follows custom and tradition.
That makes sense. The concept of, Africans don't have cousins. We have Abo Putin, Abo Sisi. And as we continue with this conversation, by the way, our WhatsApp lines are also open. From a Western perspective, birth ordering, as we talk about it, we often talk, people on social media will talk around just the firstborn responsibility, carrying the family in different ways, and the responsibility that comes with being a firstborn. Is there a way of reconciling it? Is there a way of maybe removing some of the weight that comes with this responsibility, with this holding this role of being firstborn?
I think that if we're honest, a lot of experiences become stories that we internalize. If this was true for all firstborns, that we took responsibility for, modeling, for building cohesive social cohesion in our families, we'd have such tight family units, but we don't see that being there. So a lot of that is a perceived reality, and it's around us feeling that because I was born first, I have to carry all of the responsibilities. But in the fact, if you were the first to learn a certain knowledge around this is how we behave, these are the norms of our family, it is then up to you to embody that, because to somebody who's born after you, if I'm saying at our home you don't come home after sunset, but you as the firstborn are always coming home after sunset, will there be any social order or rules of the homestead? No. So it's a practical just reality around embodiment, that we need norms and rules and orders that are able to build a home. And therefore, the one who's born first will often have to embody and exemplify them so that those born afterwards can be able to see that this is true, because our homestead's rules are not the same.
Absolutely. Let's go to WhatsApp quickly. 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line.
Yes. Hi, SFM listeners. My name is Sergio. So to the brother that called earlier on about the father who's originally from Angola, being from Angola and understanding the dynamics of where we come from, we do have something called Kodiakanda, which means that his father was originally from the north. So being the first doesn't mean that he's got the power. So the father or the family, or he will be choosing who will be calling the shot. And that person gonna have more power than others, and remember, that person will have more money than others. There are a lot of things that person that gonna have automatically. I cannot explain it, but this is the way it is in the northern culture. So so you're gonna see that person will be probably the Kodiakanda is called, and he's gonna have more say. Okay, Thank you. Bye bye.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for adding that to our knowledge bank. Koliakanda is the term. And from what he's explaining, from what the gentleman is explaining, it almost sounds to me very much similar, Koko, about what we're talking about with Jalifa and Indlalifa. It's just the Congolese version would be a Koliakanda.
Yes, it definitely would be, and it would be one that is firstly mandated, that there's guidance that you receive around which child is meant to be bestowed this title.
And once again, showing that all Africans really pretty much are the same at the essence of it all. We have to leave it there for this afternoon, but we appreciate your time as always. That was Goko Kanyagude, and of course, Goko Kanyagude is a cultural activist and traditional healer, joining us and helping us better understand the significance of where you are placed within the context of your birthing order. It's just gone 20 past 3. Well, no, 22. Why am I saying 20 past 3? It's 3 o'clock. That is the exact time. We're going to take a quick break. You can still send through some voice notes if you would like to share with us where you are born, birth order wise in your family, and is there a significance to the order in which you were born within the context of your family and your culture, and are there expectations of you as a firstborn? Perhaps you assume certain cultural responsibilities when get together for imgidi, for imemulo, for globola, isn't it, where you assume a role because of where you are placed within the birthing order of your family. Spadalangok, as they say. It's just gone 3 on the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga.
Attention all caregivers of children. Are you and your children's vaccinations up to date? Vaccinations can prevent serious diseases and prevent hospital stays. Protect your little ones by getting them vaccinated. Don't wait until it's too late. Talk to your healthcare provider today about getting your child vaccinated against serious childhood diseases. Because health matters. This message is brought to you by Sanofi and the National Department of Health.
Hey, want to check your TV license balance conveniently? Look no further. Our SMS service allows you to do just that. By sending a message containing your ID or TV license number to 44210, you can quickly access your balance without needing multiple inquiries or waiting on hold. Plus, standard SMS rates apply. Take advantage of this efficient method to stay informed and streamline your payment process today. T's and C's apply.
Win your share of 50,000 Rand when you play Winning at Live with One Life. Don't forget to enter on our website, safm.co.za. Stay tuned to the morning brief on SAFM. Keep your phone on loud and we might be the one to change your life. One Life is a licensed life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online. One Life. changing lives. Bridget Masinga on SAFM. This program is brought to you by SABC Education, enriching minds, enriching lives.
Good day. My name and surname is Ferguson Pembe. I am 10 years old. I enjoy planting and growing things. I get excited when I see my plants grow and to know that a tiny seed has grown into a big plant or vegetable that my family and I can enjoy. So planting and growing plants, it is a skill and hobby that I can enjoy and would like to grow and develop. My mom and teachers say farmers and farming is important in our country to produce products we can all enjoy and appreciate. Maybe I can be a farmer one day and help assist stop hunger in my country. As spring is starting, I plan to grow a vegetable garden and to help my father take care of our flower garden.
Good day, everyone. My name is Amungoza Moyana. Today I'm going to be talking about school holidays offer opportunities to explore new skills and interests. I'd love to learn photography. It captures life's moments and preserves memories. During holidays, I plan to watch tutorials and practice. Learning new skills can be challenging, but breaking it down into smaller steps and finding engaging resources makes it easy. I hope you guys learned something new this holiday. And thank you for listening. Hope you guys learned something new. See you guys next time.
Hi everyone, my name is Lorraine Moyo. The hobby that I like to learn during the holidays is how to sing. And the reason I chose the specific thing is because I really love to sing and I am really good at it. The things that I would do to make sure that I accomplish my voice during this holiday is by doing voice lessons, warming up my voice, doing sorts of things that all singers do to become successful. I find this hobby very easy because you can just get an amazing voice in a couple of days just by doing enough voice practice. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.
My name is Bridget Masinga. If I could learn something new, it would be cooking. I help when my other relatives are cooking so I can learn. My grandmother will help me to learn this skill.
Hello everyone, I'm Ushfika Talib. Sometimes it gets boring being away from your friends at school. During the holidays, I like to keep myself busy. Whether that is going out with friends, or being with family, or even learning a new skill. But currently, I don't have anything in mind of a new skill I want to learn. But I hope I do end up finding one. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Hello everyone, my name is Ashley Kalamba. Right now I am practicing to be really good at playing the flute. I really want to be good with the flute because I do find this instrument very interesting. To make sure that I'm really good at the flute, I keep practicing and doing my research on the instrument.
My name is Orisitsane Makanga. Yes, I would learn something new if I had the chance. Like I would learn what that word means and what it is. That's the importance. And yes, I do think learning can be enough.
Hello, my name is Dembara Madi. Yes, I'm open to learn new things. I don't mind learning new things because I'm a fast learner. The importance of learning is that you can learn much more words. You can also be smarter. No learning can not be enough because if you stop learning and using your knowledge, you will stop being smart.
Hello friends and happy Wednesday. Today let's talk about making the most of your school break and picking up new skills. Your school holidays are a wonderful time to unwind, have fun and enjoy family moments. However, they also present a fantastic opportunity to learn something new. Instead of spending all your time in front of the TV or gaming, consider using your free time to explore exciting new activities. By acquiring new skills during your break, you'll be well prepared for the upcoming school term and feel a sense of accomplishment. One great way to utilize your holiday is by focusing on something you love. For instance, if you enjoy drawing, take some time to practice and improve your technique. If music is your passion, why not learn a new instrument or refine your skills on one you already play? Engaging in activities you enjoy makes the learning process enjoyable and less like a task. Another effective strategy for learning during breaks is to create a schedule. By planning your day, you can allocate specific times to try out new things. For example, you might dedicate an hour each day for cooking or conducting fun science experiments. Breaking your learning into manageable chunks makes it less overwhelming, allowing you to balance playtime and relaxation with valuable learning experiences. Don't hesitate to seek assistance from family and friends to speed up your learning. If someone in your family is skilled at baking or repairs, ask them to teach you. You can also find helpful tutorials online or read books to gain a better understanding of new topics. Remember, asking questions and practicing regularly will make the learning journey more enjoyable and effective. School holidays are a perfect chance to develop new skills. By choosing activities you are passionate about, planning your time wisely, and seeking help when needed, you can truly maximize your free time. Learning during your school holidays is not only enjoyable, but also contributes to your personal growth and boosts your confidence in your abilities.
This program was brought to you by SABC Education. Enriching minds, enriching lives.
Kickstart your journey to success in 2025 with the Durban University of Technology. DUT offers programs in the faculties of Accounting and Informatics, Applied Sciences, Arts and Design, Engineering and the Built Environment, Health Sciences and Management Sciences, open for applications for 2025. Applications close on 30th September 2024, but dates may vary. Visit dut.ac.za for a full list of available programs and entry requirements. Apply now through the Central Applications Office by visiting cao.ac.za.
Attention all caregivers of children. Are you and your children's vaccinations up to date? Vaccinations can prevent serious diseases and prevent hospital stays. Protect your little ones by getting them vaccinated. Don't wait until it's too late. Talk to your healthcare provider today about getting your child vaccinated against serious childhood diseases. Because health matters. This message is brought to you by Sanofi and the National Department of Health.
The students are summoned for an assignment to establish who will achieve a distinction of 3 points. This is the Hollywood Bet Super League. Who will conquer the varsity derby? Catch the Mzansi Queens of the beautiful game. University of Port Hare Ladies FC versus UJ Ladies FC on Sunday 29 September at 11 a.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available at your fingertips on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Stages, pages, screens, and more on The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga.
Getting into our last conversation this afternoon with Lori's CEO, Pritesh Sevraj, joins us now as we talk the Lori's Creative Week 2024. It's coming up from the 7th until the 11th of October in the city of Cape Town. How are you doing this afternoon, Pritesh? You good?
Good afternoon. All great, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate it. The event is just around the corner, the Lori's Creative Week, but maybe let's get some context as well about how the Lori's African Middle East actually convene and gather creatives under one banner and the kinds of conversations that happen leading up to the Creative Week and ultimately up to the awards ceremony.
Yeah, so absolutely. One of the things we do is we bring creatives, brand marketers, and production people from across Africa and the Middle East to come. And the key thing that we're really discussing and really amplifying is how do we ensure that consumers, so other people out there, get the best brand communication and advertising. And to give you an example why that's important is, ads actually influence us quite a bit in the same way that we'd have responsible journalism to look at and influence our thinking about daily activities and the social environment. Advertising influences the way we think about products, services, and even in other ways about how we think and act as human beings. So those are the things we're actually looking at.
Yeah. And obviously very significant considering we have so many conversations even on this show where we're dealing with social issues where we then bring in advertising and the responsibility that advertising plays in the conversation. Let's look at how the space has evolved perhaps in the last 2-3 decades in the context of Africa and the Middle East.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you can't speak about evolution and innovation without bringing up the rise of digital, which has happened recently. But even within an environment where digital is growing, radio innovation is growing. So we see an environment where, because of digital innovation, you've got greater radio innovation, greater television innovation, greater out-of-home innovation as well. So what we're actually seeing right now is that the competition is greater, and because of the competitive environment, brands and advertisers are having to be a lot more innovative in the way they actually look at advertising and the way they actually serve the consumers out there. So that's one of the key trends.
Yeah. When we're talking innovation, what are we talking about? I must admit, I was fortunate enough to go to Berlin last year. I did like a 2-city tour of Germany last year. My mind was blown away at how creative and how innovative and just with so much bravado the ad world is in that part of the world. I never would have thunk it. And I looked and I thought, well, okay, that is innovation to me because I could see it, right? I could see it. I could engage it in different spaces where I'm used to things that are a bit more traditional, a bit more apologetic. So when we're talking innovation, what does that look like? What does that mean for us as Africans?
Yeah, what it really means is how do we improve the level of engagement with consumers? So how do we ensure that, when brands connect with them, it's not purely just about selling, about showing how these brands are integrated into the lifestyle. Now, interestingly enough, the Africa-Middle East region is considered, one of the most innovative regions for this type of communication. And the reason we're innovative is because, we have consumers who are, it's a very diverse society in terms of revenue. So you have consumers who have got millions of dollars to some who have got less than a few dollars a day to spend on stuff. So the level of innovation in this region is pretty high, and it's really just based on how do brands ensure they can speak to a wide group of consumers with different languages but still see the message that really impacts the way they think and feel about the products and services out there.
Yeah. Let's focus a little bit on the Creative Week that's coming up. So it's coming up in that first bit of October, between the 7th and the 11th of October. No doubt it's shaping up quite well.
Absolutely. We've got attendees coming from more than 20 countries around the world who are all coming to the city of Cape Town. And the key thing we'll be doing is evaluating some of the best creative work from across Africa and the Middle East, and then releasing that, post that, and celebrating that, because, again, in the end of the day, we ensure that consumers can get better work through the process we do. It's an award, but in truth, what we do is it's research. We're doing research into it, and then we celebrate it through the mechanism of an award.
Now, in spaces where things move very fast, advertising and marketing, we kind of see the genesis that has happened just leading into COVID and coming out of COVID. How do we keep up? How do we keep pace? And how do creatives in these spaces keep pace with everything that's consistently changing?
Yeah, because I think one of the things, we live in a world where you can avoid advertising these days. And advertising in the traditional sense just doesn't work in the same way anymore. So a lot of what creatives are doing is really finding a way for brands and the brand messaging to be integrated into your life experience. And I think this is what you're seeing a lot more of right now in this space is how is advertising part of your life rather than intrusive into your life itself, because no one wants intrusive messaging. So this is a lot of what you're going to see. This is a lot of the trends that we're looking at. and where you're actually now looking at brand messaging as content rather than necessarily as trying to sell you something.
Absolutely. I mean, we've run out of time with this conversation, but 20 countries descending to Cape Town between the 7th and the 11th of October. It sounds like it's going to be quite the buzz out there. Which one of the 20 excites you? Outside of the territories that the lorries focus on, outside of Africa and the Middle East?
Brazil, actually. Brazil's doing some fantastic work. Yeah, some of the best work in the world right now is coming out of Brazil. So if anyone wants to go onto YouTube, have a look at some of the Brazilian work. And obviously, if people are interested to find out more and see some of this really innovative work, there's the Homecoming Center, which is the base for the Louis Creative Week, is open to the public on the 9th, 10th, and 11th of October. So if they want to see the work and they want to see what's happening, just go to the Homecoming Center on the 9th, 10th, and 11th. It's free of charge to actually enter and see everything that's happening out there.
Wonderful stuff. Pritesh, we appreciate the time. That was Pritesh Sevraj, who is the Luri's CEO, and they've got that Creative Week coming up on the 7th through to the 11th in the city of Cape Town. And as you said, there's some open days there for you as well in between. So if you want to come through and have a look at some of the work, there are spaces that you can access free of charge that make that absolutely possible. Now I'm ready to Google and see what Brazil is getting up to. But listen, being in Berlin, it blew my mind. I didn't realize that, the Germans were the advertising hub of the world. Even just shopping at stores was a completely different experience. That is how we say goodbye. And Ashraf is standing by with the team. I don't know if he's back or he's still in Montreal living his best life. Okay, he's still in Montreal living his best life. Oliver is coming through, keeping you company 3 until 6. Inshallah, God willing, we do it again.
Top stories at 3 o'clock. One person killed in the Midrand building fire, and China launches an intercontinental ballistic missile. A very good afternoon. Ke Mudupima Khalemele with the news. A body has been recovered following the fire that gutted a residential building in Midrand, north of Joburg. Many residents at the Broadwalk Urban Village complex were evacuated to safety. However, some lost everything in the fire that destroyed 130 units last night. Emergency Services spokesperson Xolile Khumalo says they're investigating the cause of the blaze.
EMS search and rescue team has recovered the body of a female submerged under rubble and